Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, lots of you have been asking about this one, so today we're tackling the U.S. upgrading its F-22 fighter jet,
Mm-hmm.
and that immediately brings up China's J-20, obviously, and all this buzz around a sixth-generation fighter.
Right.
You want the real story, not just the headline, so let's get right into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Our mission today really is to dig into why this F-22 upgrade is happening now. What are these planes actually capable of?
And what does it mean for the future?
Exactly. What could aerial combat look like down the line, especially thinking about, say, the South China Sea? And just so you know, we're drawing on expert analysis, folks deep into military aviation.
Okay, let's unpack the first bit then. This assumption that because the F-22 is getting an upgrade, it must mean it's, I don't know, falling behind the J-20.
Or that this whole sixth-gen idea is somehow stalled or failing.
Is that accurate, though?
Well, that's the interesting part. A counterargument is pretty strong. Upgrading doesn't necessarily mean you're losing. Some analysts are quite clear. They think the F-22 is still dominant.
Still a top dog, basically.
Could be. And this term, sixth generation, it's mostly used by media, by enthusiasts. It's not really an official U.S. military term you hear thrown around.
Okay. So if it's not just about the J-20, what's really pushing these new developments, like NGAD, the Next Generation Air Dominance Program?
Right, NGAD. If you connect the dots, think about the geography. South China Sea presents unique problems. We're talking vast, vast distances.
Just huge stretches of water.
Exactly. Maintaining air superiority there is incredibly complex. So U.S. concerns aren't only about the J-20 itself, it's also these geographical headaches and, importantly, China's sophisticated rocket force. That changes the whole strategic equation.
That makes sense. It's not just plane versus plane. So comparing the F-22 and J-20, it's not as simple as looking at speed and agility stats.
Definitely not. Look, the F-22 is often called the world's best air-to-air fighter. Now, some might argue the F-35 is maybe smarter overall.
In terms of sensors and data fusion.
Yeah, exactly. Its network capabilities, its situational awareness. But for pure performance, F-22 is likely still king. The J-20, though, it probably wasn't designed to go head-to-head with F-22s in a classic dogfight scenario.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. If the J-20 isn't primarily meant to tangle with F-22s, what's its job then? What's the likely mission?
Yeah, this is a crucial strategic point. The thinking is the J-20's main role isn't fighter versus fighter. It's more likely aimed at hitting high-value enabling assets.
Disabling assets.
Like USAF, those flying command posts and aerial refueling tankers. Take those out and U.S. power projection across the Pacific gets seriously hampered.
Hitting the support structure.
Precisely. And potentially maybe even going after things like amphibious assault ships or supply vessels moving through the South China Sea. It's about disrupting the network.
Got it. Okay, shifting back to NGAD then. We heard whispers, maybe even prototypes were built. But things seem quieter now. Is there a delay? What's happening?
That's the report, yeah. Contractors designed and possibly built a couple of NGAD demonstrators, but the Air Force hasn't pulled the trigger on a final decision. Why? Well, cost is almost certainly a massive factor.
Like with the F-22 and F-35 programs, astronomical costs.
Exactly. Lessons learned, perhaps. There's also some thought that maybe the engine development, getting that next-gen propulsion right for NGAD's requirements is just taking longer than planned.
And that's key for range and performance, especially out there.
Absolutely. And interestingly, a lot of the cutting-edge stuff in avionics, sensors, software, it's more evolutionary right now. You could potentially integrate much of that onto existing platforms like the F-35 or even the F-22 with these upgrades.
So are there maybe other more, let's say, cost-effective things happening, ways the U.S. is trying to keep its edge without breaking the bank on a whole new fighter jet right now?
Oh, for sure. Take the AIM-174 missile, the new long-range one. That's a great example of smart, maybe out-of-the-box engineering. You develop a much better weapon, put it on existing planes, and suddenly their capability takes a significant leap forward without the R&D cost of a whole new airframe.
Right, enhancing the tools they already have. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. The takeaway seems to be this F-22 upgrade is likely about staying ahead, adapting to very specific regional challenges like the Pacific.
Not necessarily a sign it's suddenly inferior.
And sixth generation is still more of an idea than a defined thing, with NGAD driven by complex strategy and geography, not just a reaction.
Correct. And the J-20 probably has a different playbook, focused on disrupting those critical support assets, not just pure air combat.
adaptation, evolving concepts, and different strategic roles. That really clarifies things.
Yep, that's a good summary.
So that leaves you, our listener, with something to think about. We see how fast technology and the global situation change. Military strategy has to keep adapting constantly. What other sort of unexpected, maybe out-of-the-box solutions like that AM-174 might we see coming down the pike to handle these really complex security challenges? Food for thought. Thanks for diving deep with us today.